Bom dia e bem-vindos, my hungry amigos, and welcome back to Algarve Appetite with me, your host, Portuguese Jimmy. If you've been following our Chicken Friday series, you'll know that we've been exploring the best spots in the Algarve for peri-peri chicken. And while we're going to continue this tradition, we're introducing an exciting twist to the format. Rather than solely focusing on food reviews, we're now going to use the series to welcome guests onto the channel to share their unique experiences of living and working in the Algarve. Our first guest is a personal friend and an incredible individual, Amanda Alves. Amanda is an author, a journalist, and a mother with a fascinating story to tell. This interview will be presented in 3 parts. In part 1, we'll dive into Amanda's new book, explore her childhood growing up in Portugal and Brazil, her journalistic career, reporting from the dangerous favelas in Brazil, and her journey back to Europe to start a new chapter in the Algarve. In part 2, we'll focus on the challenges Amanda has faced as a single mother in Portugal, with some valuable insights for anybody navigating parenthood in the Algarve. Finally, part 3, we'll tackle a subject that's critical for expat families, the strict homeschooling rules in Portugal, and why they pose significant challenges for those looking to educate their children at home. This series promises to be insightful, inspiring, and packed with helpful information for anybody considering life in the Algarve. So let's get started with part 1. So let's start off and introduce you to my very close friend, local author and linguist, journalist, mother, everything. My good friend Amanda.
Hello.
Amanda Alves, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Now better because I ate chicken.
Yes. So today we're not going to review the food, and we should tell you we're back in Oliveira, one of our favourite.
Yes. It was the first time that I ate here. It was really nice.
It's very good. And we've chosen Oliveira because it's quite an open place, so we can sit and not disturb the other diners. Let's first of all tell a little bit about your book.
Okay. My new book is A Porta em Frente, and it's a book that is right like in chronicle because I have this journalist past. So I like to write like quickly and in short like stories. So actually it's a love story, and it's really nice because it really is to read. It's really like a feminine short story.
Okay. Yeah, and it's quite a relatively short read.
Yes, quickly.
Because my Portuguese is, Amanda's also teaching me Portuguese, by the way, but my Portuguese isn't quite good enough yet to read the book in Portuguese, but there is an audiobook in English.
Yes, because everyone that doesn't know how to read in Portuguese, they can have the audiobook and they can listen the book in English and after also in other languages.
Yeah.
Also, but this good thing is that it's short, but it's also written in a really beautiful way, like almost like a poem. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was nice, and of course I've known Amanda for a couple of years, so I know some of the story, and so it was quite personal to me as well to read Amanda's chronicle of that time in her life. And I understand that you are now involved in another writing project.
Yes. Now my publisher invited me to like a competition. Not like a competition, but all the authors can write like a small short story about Christmas. So I won in my part one of the space in the book. So it's a special book that has a lot of authors talking about Christmas.
Okay.
So I made like a small story that is really nice.
And we'll put some information about that up on screen.
Yes, because it will be the launch, I think, at the end of this month. And people also can buy in the library, in the bookshops, and also online. So it's really fresh.
So back to A Porta em Frente. So at the moment it's available in Portuguese and in the big Portuguese bookstores, I believe.
Yeah, like Fnac, Bertrand, like Geek also. And you can buy online or you can buy in the physical or for ebook. So in all these places you can find just as a click. you can buy this book.
Okay. Well, that's great. I thoroughly recommend anyone that's watching, if you
To give like a Christmas gift.
yeah, a little
like
Christmas
present.
Yes,
Really cool, yeah.
it's a very personal account of
Yes.
of life here in Portugal. I think
Yeah.
this is a lot of
It's
kind
really
of
nice.
Portuguese kind of influences there. And it is a love story as well.
Yes, even the cover is like Algarve. So,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's really traditional from here.
Okay. So you said you're also a journalist.
Yes.
Let's actually start right at the beginning. Let's start with your life. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I born in Brazil but my grandparents are Portuguese and also my father. So I came to Portugal with 6 years old. So I made all my studies here, but always with the connection with Brazil, going there every single year with friends, everything. So I lived in many places in Portugal, like in Coimbra, in Lisbon, in Porto, in all these places, because of the work of my father. And my mom was a teacher, my father was an economist, so I live in a like really lovely family all together with my grandmother also. So I think all these things about books and writing, I came to know. My parents, they always have like lots of books in my house. So my mom, like a teacher, also always with books. So I start to love reading a lot. And but I have a passion to be a journalist, but investigative journalist, because I want to discover the bad things in the world and save the world. That is not actually true when we when we become adults, but was my dream. So actually, after I went to Rio de Janeiro back to do my doctorate, and I worked with like TV, a Brazilian television, and we made like projects in investigation in favelas in these kind of places. So it was really nice.
So explain what a favela is to
So
our
favela
audience.
is these special neighbors that we have normally in South America, like even in Venezuela or in Mexico, but in Brazil is really traditional. So actually, there are spaces normally in like small mountains that in the past they could go there without paying anything.
Yeah.
So after they're gonna grow, and now it's like a place that is really poor, but actually is also really cultural. So it has a good side, and also has a lot of problems with the drug dealers, with the traffic.
A lot of them are dangerous places as well.
Yeah, all of them. Yes. Even if now we say, oh, it's so nice and fancy to go to favela, actually it's really, really like dangerous, and it has the how do you say, the traffic drugs, like
the drug traffickers.
traffic is like really, really huge. So and this makes everything dangerous, because actually they have like a really huge guns, and they don't allow people to go inside. They have like a special place for them, and they don't go outside also, but they don't let anyone go in.
So you did your doctorate based on life in the favelas?
Yes, also my master.
Okay.
So because the doctorate was actually like a progression from the master.
Yeah.
And was in the favelas in Rio de Janeiro, and the first time I was speaking about actually a Brazilian journalist that died in the favelas doing an investigation. So he died in like torture and everything. So
and you went back into the same place
and it was really awful.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
Yeah, it was good. And we went with all the journalists and with all the police and the cop. That was like super dangerous.
Yeah.
But also when you go, you can understand more what is the ambience of what is really happened than just read and have the information. So it was amazing to go. And you realize that has like you are inside these films that normally we see Netflix, and they're like, oh my god, he's so dangerous, but also really amazing too.
Okay, so that was your education, and you have a PhD, Dr. Amanda.
Yeah.
So, so you have a PhD in journalism. So where did your life take you after university? And
so actually it's this. Actually, to work like investigative journalism is really hard, because normally the companies, they don't have money enough to pay for investigative journalists. So I was a little bit disappointed with this process because I said, oh my God, how I can really work like this or what? And if you are just a journalist that you go and you do small things, for me was not my point. And after I have my daughter, and when you have a daughter, you say, my God, you need to be grow up and not be in dangerous places and not put her in this dangerous situation.
But you've jumped a little bit there because you had your daughter in France, correct?
Yes.
So how did you end up going from Brazil back to France?
Because I was in Rio de Janeiro, I started to have my boyfriend that was a Brazilian person that he had already the dream to go to France. So I went together. And I was already pregnant, so my daughter born in France, in Marseille, and we lived there for 6 years. And when my daughter born, I realized that I didn't want to let her with other persons. I said, my God, I want to stay with her. I want to live with her. So I decided to work for myself at home and have money doing things that I can do at home. So I started to do translations, to give classes, to go to another way that was not my initial vision, but that can adapt to be with my daughter. So now
And we should also stop and say, how many languages or what languages do you speak?
Spanish, French, Portuguese, and English.
So,
and I understand Italian, but I don't know how to talk. So,
and of course Brazilian as well. But it's pretty similar to Portuguese. So, so you're now in France. This would be what, about 7 or 8 years ago, something like this? And so you're working.
But in France, what I felt is that France is really nice, really good, but I never felt like home.
Okay.
So I was all the time like, oh my God, what I'm doing here, because I never felt adapt to France. So in one point I decided, or I go back to Brazil, or I go back to Portugal. So we decided that was near to come back to Portugal, and I went to work to Iberia, the company of flights, because I spoke language, so it was easy to work.
So you went to work for who? Sorry.
Iberia is like
Iberia, the flight company.
So in Lisbon. So I lived there, but my daughter was still small, and I was like feeling so guilty to work outside. So I said, no, I cannot work outside for sure. So afterwards the COVID, and because I have a house in Coimbra, we decided it was better to stay in a house that is my house, that I don't need to pay rent anything. And it was nice because actually during the COVID, we felt more free because it was like a farm, so we have space. My daughter didn't felt like a prison because she had space to go, and also have dogs, so we can like. And also, I didn't feel a lot the COVID because we have lots of space to live, so it was nice. And after I was a little bit sad with the weather in Coimbra because it's really cold and really humid and rains.
So I should tell all of our viewers, Amanda is always cold. Unless it is like 33 degrees and sunny, always. Amanda is cold. Amanda's like, she's so freezing, it's like 24 degrees and Amanda is freezing.
It's true. So I decided, no, I want to go back to a place that, two things that is important for me is the sea, the ocean, to be near the ocean, to see, and the weather. So I decided to come to Algarve because the weather is amazing and because the beaches are super perfect. And I think I found myself again here because for me, it's like Rio de Janeiro, but in Portugal. So it's safer, of course, but there's also this weather, this possibility to be free, to be who I am, and to use my Havaianas all the time and to be more happy. So I feel happy.
And of course, we live on the same farm, obviously different properties, but Amanda is my neighbour, and so I've seen her daughter Bia kind of grow up over the last nearly 3 years now. So Bia speaks almost perfect English now. It's great. So we agree with you. We love living in the Algarve. I'm trying to learn Portuguese, as you know. That's one of the challenges. So what could you say to the viewers in terms of cultural and living differences between kind of northern Portugal, southern Portugal?
I think here, for me, because I lived in all these places in Portugal, so I can have this comparison by living in these places, not only because I know, is that, for example, here in Algarve, we have a bad thing that is the health system.
Yeah.
That is really bad. The public and even the private one, I think, is not good when we live here.
Yeah.
But all the other things is really nice.
Yeah.
So we have the nature, we have the security, we have the peace and calm.
Yeah.
So perhaps we feel like we are all the time on holidays.
Yeah.
Because we live the holidays from the others.
Yeah.
So if we have people coming, we go to the marina, we go to the beach, we go. So we are all the time enjoying our lives and others' lives. So this is really nice. And also because it's a place that everyone is in holidays, everyone is happier than in other places. So they have another calm, another spirits to live. So this for me is amazing. And also they are more open here because it has a lots of tourists and lots of people that comes from the other countries. So even the Portuguese here, they are more open-minded. So they accept more. For example, I do homeschooling with my daughter. In Coimbra, it's like, what is this? Oh my God, this is not good. Here, if I say it's done.
Yeah.
It's something that they accept really nice because they have already the examples for the others. So this is amazing. In the cultural part, of course, if you go to Lisbon or if you go to Coimbra, Porto, is much better because we have more opportunities of cultural events. But here we have other type of cultural things that is more connected with nature. So if we know how to do it, we can have also cultural events.
Yeah.
Not in the same way of the big cities, but we also can highlight.
And I think I can only speak from my own experience here, but actually not speaking Portuguese, I think is easier. Probably the Algarve is the easiest place in the whole of Portugal because I think most of the supermarkets, they actually specify that they want people that speak English and things like this. And I think maybe especially in Porto and Coimbra and rural areas, not so much.
No, here actually everyone speaks English or even other languages, even French or other languages. And actually they talk first in English than in Portuguese. So it's worse for the Portuguese than for the English. So I think they know already that the big amount of people that live here now, they come from other countries. So they put the English like the language that everyone needs to talk here.
Yeah.
So this is really good. If you want to live here or comes for holidays, you don't feel lost. You don't feel, oh my God, I don't know how to speak the language. And of course, if you go to Lisbon or other places, perhaps you have people that know how to talk, but it's not like a normal thing, just speaking other languages. So this is really good here also.
Okay. So anything else? We of course, it's Algarve Appetite, so we have to talk about food. So is there anything you would like to cover in terms of, again, I know we've been to the Brazilian restaurant, you like Brazilian food and things. Is there anything you'd like to say about?
Yes, I like to say that also here in Algarve has the good part of this and the bad part. Of course, if you go to these really touristical places, sometimes we find bad restaurants, not bad restaurants, but they don't care a lot about food because they have a lot of tourists.
The tourist areas.
Yes, so in these places, a little bit to find sometimes good places. But if we go to these small streets or other places on the neighbors, like here, for example, that is really traditional for the chicken, or even other places that we can find small restaurants or really traditional, that we can still find like really traditional Portuguese food that is really nice. And also that the English needs to try more because sometimes they go only to these English pubs and bars and drink and eat the same food that they drink in their countries. But that if they can go and have the courage to taste more.
And as well as the excellent Portuguese food, it's very multicultural down here. I mean, whatever like on the channel we've reviewed sushi and Indian and things. So I think probably Portugal as a whole, it's like the UK. Over the years, you see more and more, but I think probably Algarve more so than anywhere. But
Yeah.
if you want to come to the Algarve and only eat Portuguese food, there's lots of very good places.
Yes, and
which we featured on our channel. If you watch the old
yes,
videos,
like this one for
Yeah,
example, that this place that normally you go on the street, you don't see so much advertisement or something, but after you go inside, then you have like really traditional service and aspects that is really traditional for Portugal.
A big thank you for Amanda for participating in the first of our new format, Chicken Fridays. Please stay tuned for part 2 when we explore Amanda's challenges being a single mother in the Algarve, and part 3 when we look at the thorny topic of homeschooling here in Portugal. It's a must watch for anybody considering moving to Portugal who have school-age kids, so stay tuned. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay informed when we upload new videos. And for now, adios, amigos. Thank you so much for watching right to the end of the video. If you're interested in following us on our other social media, please check our link tree at Algarve Appetite, and the link will be in the description below. Also on screen is a link to a video which we think you'll really enjoy. And finally, click on the Algarve Appetite logo on screen to subscribe to our channel, and thank you for watching.